Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is Nick Miller. I am joined by my best good buddy, John Bunn. And today, John, is a very big and special day to the How to Film Weddings world. Can you just let people know why today is such a big deal?
It may be the very biggest day of the year for us. Our favorite thing that we do as How to Film Weddings is our Mastermind group. And as this podcast drops, applications are now open for the class of 2024 to be part of our 1-year online coaching program, in-person retreat, guest speakers, all the things at howtofilmweddings.com/mastermind. But yeah, Nick, we're pumped. I'm going to say this. Our team has been working hard. Maybe you've seen on Instagram some of the things we've been posting, some of the testimonials. But we have, after 3 years of doing Mastermind, we're going into our 4th year. We have figured out a thing or two about how to make this the most valuable for you. We have a brand new curriculum where we have every single week laid out already. We have our guest speakers that you know. All of the things, Nick. We are determined to help people go further faster in their business. And so I don't know, like for me, this is like Christmas morning because we do How to Film Weddings because we want impact in your life. And this is the best way we can help impact you. So yeah, Nick, I don't know. I don't know what else to say except for, yeah, I'm really freaking excited. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I am also very, very excited. I love Mastermind. I love what we get to do. And it's just so cool connecting with other people, but also helping them grow their business. Like you said, going further, faster. Like that's kind of our motto for Mastermind that we've always been doing it, but it's kind of like we started saying it and we started realizing it, that going further, faster is what we want to do with Mastermind. And speaking, John, of going further, faster, we actually had a couple of our 2023 students on the podcast today. And we, just wanted to ask them questions like how they have gone from $0 in bookings to $5,000 in bookings in 1 calendar year. Like whenever Kaella and Brooke of String Lights Films, they started Mastermind, they didn't even have a business really. Like they had literally just started, hadn't filmed a wedding, and now they are sending out proposals and booking weddings, 5,000 plus. And so we wanted to have an honest conversation about all that went into that and their experience with Mastermind, but also things that people should consider whenever if they want to excel in their business, and the branding side of things, and being bold and asking questions and facing your fears and shooting your shots, and all of those kind of things are in this episode. So, John, I think that we should just head on over there and hear what Kaella and Brooke have to say. What do you think?
I say go for it. Let's do it.
Oh, let's do it. Kaella and Brooke from String Lights Films, welcome to the podcast. How are you guys doing today?
We're so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, you bet. So as John and I mentioned, Kaella and Brooke were part of our Mastermind program last year in 2023, and they have been doing some incredible things over there. We just wanted to have them on the podcast and have a little conversation with them. But before we get into that, why don't you guys just introduce yourselves, kind of share who you are, maybe give us a background about you guys just a little bit, and all the stuff about you guys.
Okay, well, I'll go first. I'm Kaella, and I worked in the television, news, and sports industry for 20 years. And I decided that I needed a big change in my life. I wanted a little bit more flexibility, but I still wanted the option to be creative and continue storytelling, which is such a huge passion of mine. And I love love. I'm very cheesy. And I'm always the person like cheering on the final girl on The Bachelor, like hoping they find true love. It's not real. Anyway, and so my friends were like, why don't you consider like filming weddings? That would be such a good fit for you. So I literally Googled how to film weddings and I found you guys. Which,
it worked.
Amazing name. I hear that, Nick, you are to thank for that amazing branding. And yeah, I just kind of followed you guys silently for a few months. And then I saw this retreat and I saw this big community that was being built. And I was like, okay, that might work for me. Like, I don't want to do this alone. I want this community and people to help me. But I was a little bit hesitant to jump in because I had no experience. So I applied and I somehow got accepted with 0 weddings under my belt. And I just started the program, and I was still working full time at the time, but I found I was just like not as passionate in my full-time job anymore. And I really found myself, I don't know, being directed into this industry. And that's when I knew it was right. So I just walked in and I just quit one day out of the blue. And about a month later, I was telling Brooke's husband about my business. I hadn't officially gone public yet because I wasn't confident. I was a little bit scared. And he was like, Brooke would be so good at that. So this is Brooke.
Hello.
And she can tell you all the amazing things that she has to offer.
Thanks, Kaella. So my dad was actually a wedding photographer, and so I grew up alongside him, kind of tagging along and learning through that. And then I've also had some experience in front of the camera. I worked for some big names and in some magazines and billboards across the world, so I have experience on the other side of the lens. So Kaella was like, oh, I love her like eye for detail, and she wanted to bring me along. So I said yes.
Yeah, so she jumped right in, like honestly didn't even hesitate. And we signed up for a camera course. We went to a conference in Las Vegas. We saw Larev speak there, and it was amazing. And I think we just kind of knew from the beginning that we were going to be a really good team. And I think from day one, we've kind of just always been on the same page. We've known exactly what our brand is about, what kind of weddings we want to film. And I just feel like so lucky every day to be working with her.
Ditto to that. She's so sweet.
I'm just saying, yeah, a match made in heaven. No, we met you guys last week. We went to our retreat in Scottsdale as our mastermind group, and just I asked Nick like a couple of days after we got back, it's like we should definitely have them on the podcast, just because I think it's a really inspiring story, and I want to dig into that even more. But when we got your application last year, it was like really kind and awesome, but it was also like, we haven't filmed anything, but we really want to. And like Nick and I have always said that Mastermind, you don't have to have filmed a ton of weddings. We've had people that have filmed hundreds of weddings join. It's about where you are, and are you wanting to be part of this community? Are you willing to learn and grow and submit to like 12 months of just being part of something and investing your time and energy? And we got to watch in a very short amount of time, you all go from, yeah, we're doing our first weddings kind of for free, to kind of hearing some of your story before we started recording today, booking multi-day weddings with planners and all this stuff. And so I wanted to kind of dig in to, you start Mastermind. How did you go about getting, like, did you already have a couple of weddings on the books? Like, for those listening, they are really good at their branding, their vibe, just how they show up in front of the camera, very approachable. Like, and you're also really strategic about how like when we were in the desert last week, you were like, hey, this is great, but desert's not our vibe. Is there a way we can get some headshots over here? And I was like, heck yes, absolutely. You know who it is that you are so early. I think a lot of people don't know and just try to appease everyone. So kind of what was a little bit of the getting going story, those conversations when you were defining your brand, and how did like your learning and Mastermind coincide with all of that?
Well, I think what we did to start is we found a couple that we knew were getting married. We had a connection to. She actually taught my son, and I worked with her at another job previously. And we just reached out to her and we said, hey, can we film your wedding like as a gift to you? We're new, no promises kind of thing. And then we kind of thought to ourselves, actually, we don't want that to be our first wedding, because it was at such a beautiful venue. They were an amazing couple. We knew their vows were going to be so amazing. They're high school sweethearts, been together 11 years. So we're like, okay, we need to film like other weddings before their wedding, even for free. So
we just made a post on Instagram to like our local photographers, just like a close friends group, and just said, hey, does anybody have anyone that's getting married that doesn't have a videographer? And we actually had a couple people reach out. So we were like, yeah, let's do it. Like, didn't matter the venue or anything. We just scooped them up, and yeah, it was a great experience, honestly. Like, we learned so much our first one. It felt really good to get that first one under our belt.
And the other thing we did actually is there was a new wedding venue about 45 minutes from us, and we reached out and just offered to film just a wedding venue video to help them promote their business. And she was like, well, actually like have a wedding here in a couple weeks and they don't have a videographer. Like, would you mind coming for this wedding? And then you can kind of tie the two pieces together. So that was another example of another free wedding we got. And then we sat down and had coffee with some of the other local wedding videographers here in town. And that helped us get weddings that they were booked for that came on their schedule. So
we got some second shooting from them and some second referrals.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of just used as many like resources as we could to get started. And I know we've said this to you in person before, but without Mastermind and like the 5 months of experience, I don't think we would have been as nearly as confident as we were walking into those weddings. Like, yes, it was still scary and intimidating, but you guys in the course and the speakers, of course, helped us be like, okay, like we got this. And I think we just kind of like took off from there.
Yeah, I love that story. And one of the things that's really sticking out to me is in our society, in our world today, you know, people just want it quickly. They want it now. You know, our Amazon Prime, our fast food, you know, it's like, I don't want to work for this thing. I just want it to happen. And I think that that's a cool thing about you guys is you were hungry to get going and you wanted success to happen, but you also knew that it wasn't going to happen unless you did something, you know, with it. I think maybe a lot of people might have been really intimidated in your situation of like, we've never done this before. Like, why should I apply to Mastermind? Why should I just, sit around and wait or, kind of whatever. But you're like, no, this is the direction that we want to go. And you've been able to come a long way with that. And so it seems to me, and you guys can speak on this, that you kind of maybe went the backwards route that a lot of people would assume, how to get to where you are, right? It's like a lot of people like, I just need to find weddings. I need to book weddings. I need to get work. And then from that, I will get more work. But it was like, you guys went the other route. We're like, I need to find connections and I need to find people and I need to talk to people, which then, it's like the work was secondary a little bit. Like I'm not saying it was, but in a way it was because you went about it that way. Can you just kind of, I don't know what the question I'm asking, but what was your maybe thought in going that way with things rather than, hey, let's get the best videos out there first? What was your thought process there?
I think honestly, we just knew that we couldn't do it ourselves. We couldn't do it just as Kaella and Brooke. And we knew we needed to rely on a community, whether that was Mastermind, whether that was other photographers in our community that were shooting the types of weddings that we eventually wanted to shoot with, other videographers that could tell us about the market, about the pricing, about how their career path has gone and what they've learned. And from the very beginning, Brooke and I have followed this quote called "Burn the Boats." Of course, it's a book as well. And it really is about like tossing plan B overboard and unleashing your full potential. And what that means is like when you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. And that has been our mentality from day one. Like I quit my job, Brooke has put everything on the table and we're just like all in. And so for us, it's like we know that we can be successful by connecting with other people and from learning from other people. Us going to a wedding solo, not having all the skills that we know we need is not going to help our business grow. So we take the skills that we have and we reach out to others for those that we don't. And that's allowed us to grow our path and our business every single day. And we did say that when we book our first $10,000 wedding, we're going to get a little boat tattoo because every time we book a wedding, we have a little boat and the little fire emoji for our burn the boats. Yeah.
Whenever you get that, which it's going to happen, whenever you get that, video it and send it to us so we can.
We will. We will.
I wanted to make the point that like some people sit on their hands and kind of wait and say like, well, we'll take this slow. And there's something to that. I'm not saying it's bad to be like patient, but also there are other people that are action takers that are willing to take those steps and say, I'm willing to get vulnerable. I'm willing to ask the questions. I'm willing to like just make myself vulnerable in a way where it's like, I'm going to reach out and shoot the shot and like, will you go to coffee with me or can we talk to you? And I saw that fire in you guys and it was really inspiring when we were in person where you knew like the mentality was like, we're going to get the most out of this retreat as absolutely possible. we're uncomfortable and nervous to go up to John and ask him a question, or we're uncomfortable to go up to a guest speaker. But like, you know what? We're going to give ourselves the courage and be audacious and like pump each other up and go ask the question. And I guess I would ask you just to someone out there that's not necessarily driven that way, what has being audacious done for you and your brand? Maybe if there's any examples that you have that were uncomfortable for the 10 seconds that you were doing it. But what things have you done in this first year of your brand that you would encourage someone with, like it was worth it to get yourself to that place of uncomfort?
I will just say, like, briefly, what leads to being able to do that is we had a guest speaker in Mastermind this year, Cody Stanton, or obviously Phillips by Stanton. And he spoke about finding like the reason, like your why you're doing this. And we have our why. Like, we know why we're doing this. We're doing this because we're both moms and we want flexibility. We want time with our families, but we also want to do something for ourselves and something that brings us like this great amount of joy and accomplishment.
Yeah, it's fun and creative. And, you know, we still get to like dress up and not wear our leggings and our hoodies. And, you know, every wedding we have so much fun. Like, it doesn't really feel like work. We make it a good time.
Yeah. But we've stepped out of our comfort zone like several times, but only because it's benefited our business, which ultimately benefits the people that we're working with, of course. I mean, talking to you guys at the retreat, I don't know if you want to mention that now, but it was very like vulnerable for us to really ask you guys to help us, because we came into the retreat not knowing some of the things that we felt we still needed to know. And we had recently listened to one of Emma Kay's podcasts where she said her goal for 2023 was to learn how to use her gimbal and be more technical with her editing abilities. And we're like, okay, if this person that we look up to and like aspire to be like is admitting like, hey, she doesn't know everything either, and she's charging $28,000 for weddings. It's like, okay, well, we also can be like vulnerable and we don't know everything and we're not pretending to know everything. But here we are at this retreat with you guys. You're so amazingly talented. We have all these other speakers that it's literally like your job and your willingness to be there to help us. And so we sat down after day one. Brooke was a little bit disappointed with some of her video, and she just said like, let's do this. And I was like, let's do this tomorrow. Like tomorrow we're sitting down, we're grabbing Nick, we're grabbing John, we're grabbing whoever's available.
We're going to ask the questions.
We're going to ask all of our 100 questions.
And I think it was very fun to watch, because the way that the retreat worked, we had a welcome party on Sunday night, but then Monday morning we had some education. We rented this movie theater. It was awesome. We learned from Sam Jacobson and Boomer with Multiply Media and Michael with Wedditor, and then we went to a shoot. And instead of it being like a styled shoot where everyone's just like a moth to the flame, it's like we're giving you 2.5 hours, 3 hours at this styled shoot, which we had 3 couples and 15 or 16 stations you could go to with flat lays and tablescapes. But we had 3 couples, and then we put 2 of our guest speakers with each couple, and then Nick and I were roaming around. And so I walked by Brooke and Kaella, and I was like trying to just look at their screen to kind of help. And Brooke was like, please stop looking at me. Don't do that. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I can't let you look at the back of my camera. And so I was like, well, here's my camera. Why don't you look at it and both of them were just like, why does your footage look like that? And what's wrong with our footage? And like, you could just see the walls kind of breaking down with them of being like, oh, he wants to help. This is not embarrassing. Like, this is just something we don't know. It's not like character issues or anything. We just don't know this. We don't know why this is looking like it is. And so like I slowly saw them warming up to where the next day we did another set of styled shoots. And before that, they grabbed me and said, okay, please help. What are we doing wrong? And we sit down for maybe 20 minutes, and I brought Blake, the editor, over, and we calibrated their monitors and got all these different things. And I was like, you guys need to get out of your comfort zone today. Put your camera in Kelvin mode, and I'll walk around with you. And like, anyway, why don't you talk a little bit about what that experience was like? Because I think that you'd communicated how nerve-wracking that is to kind of reach out about that. But like, I want people listening that are worried to ask the question or shoot the shot to see what's on the other side of making yourself vulnerable. So what was that experience like, just being able to sit down and then shoot and just kind of paint a picture of what those 2 or 3 hours looked like for you all?
So honestly, yeah, we were so grateful for that time that you took to like sit down with us. Like, you guys are such amazing mentors and such a great inspiration. We were, as Kaella said, we were a little bit nervous, but we were vulnerable, and asking you these questions was like, honestly, a pivotal moment in our career, I think. Just gaining all the knowledge that we did from you guys, and it made us so much more confident in our work. And yeah, like, you guys were just so humble and like genuinely wanted to help. And yeah, I feel like I'm gonna cry because that was like the best part.
Oh, no, we've cried so many times about this. I think like we talked about it after. There's those moments in your life where it's like, this happens, and you talk about things like the before and the after. And for us, the retreat, that's that moment. So we'll always say, before this moment with you, we did things this way, or we learned this way. Now we had this great opportunity to say, after you took the time to sit down with us and change the way we do things, we can be better, and we have the skills and the confidence that we need to keep growing. And it wasn't like our films were bad or our footage was bad. It was just, we knew it could be better. We knew we could get out of auto. We knew we could fix less things in post, and that's what we needed the help on. And so now I have all these new skills to just kind of take those and run with it. And everyone at the retreat was just, yeah, so humble, so genuine. And we're honestly like so thankful. You guys know, we told you this in person. We were crying on our last Zoom call with our classmates the other day, because this like experience and this course like changed our lives, changed our business, changed our outlook, changed our goals, change how we've been able to work as a business. And yeah, we just get like really emotional about it, because I'm so glad that we signed up and that we found you guys, because like you said in your retreat wrap up podcast, for those like sitting in their business right now, not sure if it's for them, they really need to think, next January, are they going to be happy with where they're at? Because last January, I dreamed about being where we're at right now. And we have Mastermind to thank for all of our success, and the fact that we're here being able to like look ahead and only dream about, I guess, what we have down the road coming up.
Are you looking to up your game when it comes to delivering your wedding films? Are you tired of sending out a YouTube or Dropbox link? Stand out from the competition by delivering your films in a way that will make your couple say wow. And you're going to be thanking us, because we have put together a list of the best platforms to deliver your wedding films over at howtofilmweddings.com/delivery. That's right, we have a list of approved delivery services right at your fingertips at howtofilmweddings.com/delivery. Check out all of our approved delivery solutions and see what it could look like for you today. That's howtofilmweddings.com/delivery.
As you were talking, that I was coming back to is so many of us, and I think this is people across the board, no matter what your profession is, no matter what you're doing it is, fear is such a thing that sits in us. And it's not just I'm scared to like ask a question. We're scared of what the answer may be, right? It's just simply the fear of the unknown, and why, people may be sitting there like, should I join this program? Should I take this course? Should I invest in these kind of things? And they're like, well, we don't know like what's going to happen on the other side, or we don't know what it's going to be like. And so the fear of the unknown like paralyzes us. And so we don't act, we don't behave, we don't do the things that we know we want to do. And one of the things that Sam said in his talk at the retreat, he was like, we should strive to be people that fail more than other people try. And so the people that fail fast and fail quickly are the ones that ultimately succeed, because they learn so much. And I I saw that embodiment in you. It's so many people at the retreat, so many of our students, but really embody that idea of I'm gonna put myself out there, and if this leads to failure, which it didn't, but if it does, like, then I will learn a lesson and I can move on and go for, like John said, he was like, Brooke came up to me and she was like, can I have 30 minutes of your time? And he was like, like, I'm kind of busy, like 30 minutes, like nothing on you guys, but like how you handle that. And he was like, okay, he found the time, and he was like, hey, I need to run off, but Blake can help you. And, we found things to go about that. And so, maybe this is just a mindset thing that you guys kind of talked about, or you kind of are, there's certain people that are just like, hey, I'm going to go for this and I'm going to do it. And I don't care to fail. But, what would you say to someone that's, sitting in that spot and is scared to ask those questions or scared to take a chance on themselves? Like, what's an encouragement that you would give to them so that they can go that extra mile or take those steps?
I think honestly, it's like you have nothing to lose. After we sat down with John, it was kind of interesting to see the people come over. They also wanted to listen to John and hear and learn from him. And then after our Mastermind Zoom call the other day, where you were sharing our story about, not knowing how to shoot Calvin, we got some DMs from our classmates that said, we're so happy that you guys were talking about that, because I didn't know how to do that either. Yeah. And so there's other people out there that have the same questions and uncertainties as you, and maybe they're not as confident, and you really have nothing to lose and everything to gain by asking the question.
My dad always says, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I always have that in the back of my mind. So yeah, we just kind of, like we said before, we went for a walk the morning of, and we were like, you know what, we're going to do this. We're just going to ask all the things. And we were so grateful that we did, because like we said before, it was like a pivotal moment in our career.
And I would say on my side of it, it was one of the most fulfilling parts for me about the retreat is when people do that. And it's like, if you look at it from our perspective, Nick and I sit in an office alone. We talk to a camera. We're trying to help people. And then we have one event in person in real life. And it's like, this is what we do it for. We want impact. We want to help people. And it's hard to be like, please come talk to me and ask me questions. It's like, but the people that do, get out of their comfort zone and ask those questions, you see that extraordinary growth. And you were talking about our friend Emma with Emma K Films earlier, and you all remind me a lot of her energy, especially early on, because we met her when she was just getting started. She was in our mastermind group and has helped us with some of our retreats and all that. But one time we were hosting an event in Denver, and for a smaller mastermind group thing, and Nick's plane was getting in, I think 3 hours late or something like that. And so we had to kill some time. Emma had gotten in, I had gotten in, Austin and Blake and Jessica, and we all just were waiting at a coffee shop. And she was like, hey, since we're all sitting at a coffee shop, can you just tell me everything about how to light speeches? And I was like, what? And she was like, and I was like, sure, yeah. Or we had a mentor session with her early, and she had, I've got all these questions. I know exactly where I'm aiming. I know exactly what I need to know. These are the most important things. Let me gather that knowledge from somebody that's been there before. And you guys have that same energy where it's just we gave you guys an award at the retreat, the Rising Star Award we give out every year. And anyway, it was because it's pretty obvious from our standpoint, having done this forever, that you guys are going places and you're going fast. It's like a rocket or a shooting star, because it's you guys are going fast. And I would ask, I guess, so even just on the dollars and cents side of things, when you started Mastermind, you were charging nothing. And maybe talk a little bit about what you attribute going from zero to where you are now, kind of explaining what that picture looks like, practically. What are you charging now? So that people can realize that it's not necessarily just about the way you shoot. It's not the way about you edit. It's more about the drive that you have and the way that you put yourself out there. So you were charging zero. You're now charging a lot more than that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that journey, that side of it, to where You've gotten out of your comfort zone. You've asked questions. And what has the result been because of that?
Yeah, so we started out, like we said, we did 3 free weddings. And then now we charge...
We did a few for $1,000.
Yeah, a few for $1,000. I'm like, how did this go again?
Yeah, a few for $1,000. We slowly started to increase our prices after some of the speakers came in and talked about their pricing structure and how they kind of differentiate between what's worth what and what's important to include in packages. And now
we're also booking like fairly quickly as well. So we were like, okay, you know, all this experience and, you know, obviously this is something that people want. So we were like, okay, I think we can charge a little bit more. And yeah, we just booked a $6,000 package, multi-day wedding. And we've also done a destination wedding. We've had how many inquiries for more? 3? 3 more destination inquiries. And
I want to just quickly talk about that destination wedding because everyone was like, oh, you got a destination wedding. Like those people paid us $800. We flew from Canada to LAX. We paid out of pocket $3,000 to film that wedding. So we took a major hit personally, but that's our biggest portfolio piece and how we book most of our weddings because we're really passionate about that trailer. We loved the location. We knew that was kind of the right client. We knew it was the right venue, the right vibe for our brand. So we use that similar to what our thought process was with Mastermind was this is an investment in our business, in our future. Yes, we're paying essentially to film this wedding, but that's okay. That's going to get us ahead. And we've seen that because we booked that as soon as we put that trailer out, not even the full film, we had so many inquiries coming in. So like if you're thinking about joining Mastermind, like these are the type of skills that you're going to learn. It's like you learn about your pricing guide, you learn about when to increase your prices, by how much, and when it's important to just not make any money because it will help your business in the long run. So yeah, we're about $5,000-$6,000 packages right now, Canadian dollars. But that's okay. Still counts. And our goal is more destination weddings. We really want to get to Italy. Brooke wants to go to Greece. So that's kind of our goal is to book an Italy or Greece wedding sometime in 2024. Even if it's a 2025, 2026 wedding, that is our goal. We've started to kind of lay the steps. What's the word for that?
Put the stepping
stones down to make that happen. So we're manifesting it. It's going to happen. And yeah, honestly, all of these skills, like from pricing guides to like
we didn't even know what a pricing guide was when we started. Like honestly, like we had an Instagram handle and no posts. We didn't know what a pricing guide was. Like we had a website, but we needed some help. Yeah, we learned so much from this mastermind. It's been like, I don't even know the word. It's been so amazing for us.
That's incredible. And hearing your story, just going from 0 to, you know, 4.5, 5, even more $1,000 in 1 year. That's not something that just happens. I mean, there might be one random person that does that, but that's the exception, not the rule, right? You guys have gone and you have done this, I think, the right way. And I think a big reason how this has happened has been the focus that you've had on your brand and the image that you want to put out there. So a couple questions, and like John said, you know, we're like doing headshots and you're like, this isn't our vibe, this isn't our brand, can we go somewhere else? You know, but I think that there are so many people that they don't know and understand and realize how much that stuff matters until they're 4 years in. And then in some regards, it's too late and they have to right the ship and they have to go a different direction because they've already started going one way, they need to fix it. So what were the conversations like maybe behind the doors with you guys about your branding and how you wanted to portray yourself and how you wanted to put yourself out there? And like how early on did you kind of get that sort of stuff figured out? Like if you guys see on screen, like they're matching wearing their black and white outfits and stuff. And like that was them at the retreat too. It was like everywhere we went, they were like, if there's going to be photos of us, there's going to be stuff of us, like we want to look a certain way because that is our brand and that's who we are. So why don't you guys just kind of talk about the power of how you've branded yourself and how that has affected the direction that you're going?
We had our brand laid down like first thing. Like our brand shoot was one of the first things we did. We were like, if we want social media, a website, like this is the first thing we have to do. And I don't know what made us choose like, this is just like who we are. Like this is just, I don't know, this is just who we are. Like
we wanted to come across as authentic.
Yeah.
We're women that like to dress up. We like to look good. We like to be professional. Yes, of course, we like to have fun. You guys saw that at the silent disco. But when we're putting our business out there, we're putting our business out there, we want to come across as professional. We want to be dressing as if we are a wedding guest at the luxury weddings that we hope to film someday. Everything we're putting on our grid is very professional. We're saving, a little bit more about our personality and behind the scenes for our stories. Just, keeping it as professional as we can. And I think it's like, we want to film the type of weddings that we want to film if we were getting married, these luxury events, these beautiful details, these in-love couples, that's who we are and things that we like. So we're hoping that we attract those type of people because that's who we are.
Yeah, and if I can chime in, I think it was when we were sitting down at the table, walking through your camera settings and stuff, and you were just like, this is so embarrassing that we don't know this. I'm so sorry. You're trying to like apologize for it. And I was like, you got to stop with this. This is not embarrassing. Like, you kind of had like, to make you realize, I guess, I started changing the conversation and saying, you guys get it where most people don't get it in the wedding industry. Like, you understand the power of the way you present yourself, the way you put yourself out there, the power of your portfolio, the power of just like being your personality on screen. Like your branding photos are super awesome. Like you just look great. You look like relatable, and people can really connect with the idea. It's like, oh, I can see them at my wedding. And I think I would like to just demystify the idea. Like, you can book nice, awesome weddings that are paying you $5,000 or more and not know all of the details about how to use your camera. I'm not saying that's where you want to live, but what I'm saying is that it's like just that branding side of things, just the way that you present yourself and put yourself out there. A wedding planner most wedding planners won't be able to tell the difference between your films that you were shooting a certain way and my films that I was shooting a different way. The reason that I've raised my prices to over $20K is because of the personality behind the brand and the way that I brand myself, not because I'm shooting 10-bit 4K 60 at whatever. That's important as you keep climbing that ladder. And it is what differentiates you. And I think of our friends Lindsay and Cherish with Lerev. Whenever I first met Lindsay, he had just finished doing Tiesto at the DJ's wedding, and he did it with another photographer friend of mine that I had done some luxury weddings with. And that's how I was introduced to him. And I was like, who's Lerev Films? And like, how'd they get this multi-million-dollar wedding? And the more that I got to know Lindsay, and if you've ever met Lindsay and Cherish, they are so good at their networking. They're so good at their brand. Like, they are so aware of what they're posting on their grid or what they're posting on their, and how they word things and how they, and I watched, like, his film was a solid A. Like, it was great. Like, the film was awesome for Tiesto, but I've watched as 5 years have gone by, and now their color grading and their film, everything is just turned up, like, just 10 more notches, and their films are like A+++s and like setting standards. But they were booking $20,000, $25,000 plus weddings with really good films and incredible networking and marketing. And I just think if people are out there listening, it's like, you guys have gone from just starting this time last year to in 12 months with the proper coaching with our mastermind group and the proper questions and just what you've learned. You've invested into your education and you've asked the questions, and then you've put a heavy emphasis on showcasing who you are, not being afraid of who you are, and being relatable to people. And most people don't understand, and most camera operators are, I'm behind the camera, it doesn't matter how I come across it. And in 2024, that matters so much more than people think. And so I guess what I would say and wrap all that up, I know that I've been talking for a second here, is that like, you have gone from 0 to 6,000 or whatever in 12 months. It's stupid. And if people can realize that with the proper coaching, the proper plan, and the idea that they need to get out there and connect and ask the questions, they can go further faster. As far as where you're at now, you were talking before we hit record, you'd made some relationships with some planners or some things like that. I would love to kind of dive into your networking side of things. You'd mentioned it a little bit earlier, but like what types of steps are you looking for to see, oh, this is a person we want to connect with? And then how'd you reach out to this specific planner? How are you not being weird, not being, asking too much, but just like you make a good impression. Like I left the retreat thinking like, oh, I love these two. They're so awesome. So what about you guys is working when it comes to the networking side of stuff? How important is that? Give us some feedback, help people that want to grow their business when it comes to what you've done with your networking.
Yeah, so we had a speaker talk about networking with a planner, and everyone gets those DMs from editors asking if they can edit their films, and we get annoyed by them. So we don't want to be those annoying people to planners. We wanted to create authentic, genuine connections. And so it just started out by following a few wedding planners that were planning the types of weddings that we wanted to be involved in. Not always aiming for the highest, most popular wedding planners, sometimes going for the ones that were just starting out, but maybe we could see that they were going to get there like us, and believing in them. And we would just honestly start by interacting with them on social media, responding to their stories.
Yeah, responding to their stories, sending them hearts. Oh, this is so beautiful. Commenting on their posts. That's basically where we started out.
And trying to make it like even more than just a heart, like trying to like relate to like something they're posting with something that we could relate to as well. And, one of the planners is a mom. So like just commenting on things like that. And it honestly took 10 months for us to get a coffee date with this wedding planner. But it was like, honestly, like a couple messages a week that we were responding to this girl. And she asked us for coffee, and she sent us 4 wedding referrals now. Some are multi-day. We just got a wedding referral multi-day from her last night, and met her again in person last week. And she's our vibe. And you kind of know like when you can relate to someone that it's going to work out.
Yeah. We clicked with her right away. It was like it was a no-brainer. She's also a female. Like Kayla said, she's also a mom. Like just so many different things aside from weddings that are relatable.
And I think also it's not aiming to like connect with, like I said, like the biggest person in the room. I think we learned from Lindsay at Larev at a conference we were at with him, where he said, we went to this event, all these people were talking to this big, huge, important person. And me and Cherish, went to another table and started talking to someone. And that person ended up being an even bigger person that no one was talking to, and ended up opening up their network even more. So just making sure that we're just like friendly and nice, which is our personalities anyway, to everyone we meet, because honestly, you never know like who they know, and they might recommend you. And a lot of times at weddings, we film a wedding and someone says, oh, I know someone that's getting married.
Yeah, you never know who's a guest at a wedding.
I like what you said. And, you said you started talking to this planner and sending DMs and commenting, and you were like, and 10 months later, we finally got a coffee date. Again, back to how our society is, and we want it now, and we can't wait. Most people don't have the foresight, to play the long game. And I don't mean that like trickery, right? Like it's like, no, if we're going to build this business, if we're going to build relationships, like that's not something that you can do overnight. Whenever you think of a dating relationship, or, something that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, like you don't just meet them on a Tuesday and then Wednesday you're married. Like that doesn't, in most cases, that doesn't happen. It takes some time. It takes some energy. You got to know each other. And especially from the planner side of things, I'm sure they get hit up all the time for people. Hey, give me business. Hey, let me do this. Hey, and you were just showing to them, one, that you are cool people that we want to work with, showing your vibe, but then also just showing a little bit of longevity. Because I'm sure that she was like, oh, these girls, that's cool, but they don't have an Instagram account. Like they don't have followers. Like why like not negatively, but you were new, you know, it's like, why would I give them the time of day now? You had to prove yourself to that person that you could do. And I think that that's something that a lot of people have really struggle with, is having that idea of, hey, this might take a little bit of time for this person to get to know me. But if you do it right and you do it correctly and you're a good person and you're not just trying to, you know, trick them or whatever, you're like, hey, it took us 10 months to get a coffee date, but now she's sent 4 weddings our way. And now we have this relationship, and it's only going to, I hope for you guys, it's only going to continue to grow, you know, as we move down the way there. So
I think something else that's important is you have to not be selfish, right? It's not about like, what can I get from this person? It's what can I give this person and how can I help them? And this specific wedding planner actually is involved in a really big charity. She lives about 2.5 hours away from us, that gives back to pregnant young women that are homeless. And we saw her event last year and it just looked like so much fun. And so we actually messaged her right after the event. It was last April. And we said, hey, if you need someone to film next year's event, like we'd love to offer our time for free. And we didn't hear back for a couple months, and we're like, okay, whatever. But we're actually filming that event. We had our first meeting a couple months ago with her and her team. And so we're just doing that for free. And we found out through our first meeting that everyone on the board is a wedding planner. So we're like, amazing. We've just made this huge connection with 4 incredible women that are like planning luxury weddings at like the Banff Springs Hotel, our dream. And it's all because that we wanted to offer something back. And we weren't looking for anything in return besides just a chance to get to know someone. So I think, yeah, a big part of that is not always putting yourself and your business first, like making real connections and being genuine in your approach in connecting with others.
Yeah. And one of the things that we talk about during Mastermind, and I think it was our friend Elaine with KEJ, you know, talking about being known, you know, and people knowing who you are, but like not to be the most known. Yes, that's great. But like, who knows you as well? And there's just something about getting yourself in the room with people, in the same room. There's just a different, like, we've talked to you all on Zoom all year long, but like in 5 minutes of being in the same room, there's so much more communication that can be picked up. It's like, oh, these are genuinely nice people. They're not putting on a front. They're not, and just 2.5 hours away, like you guys are making the trip. You're paying the extra to go to LA. You're doing, like, you see and you've learned the value of being in the room, getting the experience in front of other people. And it's funny how coincidence seems to happen for people that make that stuff happen. So like, you've got in the room, we're doing this for free. We just want to help. We just want to give back. Oh, what a coincidence. There's a board of wedding planners here now. They can see how great we are. And then it's like, oh, well, they got lucky because of fill in the blank, whatever that people will say. But the truth is that you took action and you took steps, and like, you didn't wait for the good thing to happen. You weren't, bulldozing people, but you strategically said, this is a good investment. Like, this trailer from the LA wedding is going to put us on the map in a different way. This is going to be a stepping stone. This, asking these questions, going to the Mastermind retreat, asking John how to do that. All these things are stepping stones that like are huge leaps at the early part of your business to where you're seeing these incredible gains. And that's what's so cool about the wedding film industry, is that there's enough education. There's programs like Mastermind. There's programs like courses and things that can give you those things that like help you elevate yourself quicker. And it's obvious, like after being in the room with you, it's like, oh yeah, we would definitely have them do stuff for us or help with, it's like, oh, we should definitely have them on the podcast. We should. And so like, you're taking advantage of every little opportunity, and it's like the game of life, but it's like oh cool, now we're on this podcast, and you'll connect with other filmmakers, and there's other things, and like you're connecting with all these planners, and you're doing new weddings, and there's a bridesmaid at the wedding, and you've made connect, like you're always kind of focused on all that stuff and connecting with more and more people. And that is a creative side of running our business that most people just completely skate by. Like they think, oh, well, I'll put out good work, that's cool. People will find me, and that's possible. But what you all are doing is like a proven plan to go from 0 to 6,000 in a year. So I guess with all that, I know we're running low on time. I know you guys had some, I see you looking down at your paper. You have like a paper, I think so, maybe with some notes on it. I want to make sure that if there's anything that you haven't said that you want to talk about or communicate with us about, like just before we sign off for today, or Nick, if you have anything while they're looking up there. They're very strategic in their, they have got their lists, they got their stuff, and I don't want them to like leave this and then be messaging me, asking me, hey, can we say this? Can we, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that. I don't need that in my life. So anyway, do you have anything, girls, ladies?
I honestly, like, we made notes because we just wanted to make sure that we did you guys justice and we did this program justice. It's not honestly about us and our business. All of our notes are literally, Brooke has some incredible notes. I will probably cry if I read them, so I need to leave them to her.
I just wrote, oh, geez. Oh, no, we said we were going to do this. John and Nick have been incredible mentors and a source of inspiration. Your influence will forever be etched in our hearts, and we are so grateful for the positive change you've brought into our life and our business.
Oh man, they wrote like a testimonial and they make me cry. I didn't know it was like that. I promise I didn't pay them to do this. Jeez.
Oh no,
man.
We said, no, honestly, like you guys, I'm so grateful we found you. Like, thank you for doing what you do. I know like the time and energy it takes into creating this program. You just redid it even. So like all that went into that.
You guys are so dedicated and humble and genuine.
Yes.
You're like big brothers, it felt like, you know?
Yeah.
Your hugs are just the best, and like you're just so genuine and
supportive. Like you, like it's not just us. Like you say all these amazing things to every single student in the Mastermind program and make them believe that they can be successful. And that means so much to people that are taking a chance on themselves and believing in their business, to have people like you in their corner. This has changed our life. And honestly, like we hope that we get to like thank you again in person someday and continue to like be friends with you guys. We do. We love you both, and we're so appreciative that our paths crossed. And we just love you guys so much.
You're the best. The feelings are mutual.
Definitely.
Aww,
you guys are incredible. We are so grateful that we got to know you, and now we're able to observe the success that you will undoubtedly have over the next months and years with your film. So people I'm sure now that have heard your story might be interested in following along, or like kind of seeing you, or whenever you get those boat tattoos, just so they can see that on Instagram whenever that happens. So where can people follow you guys?
You can find us on Instagram, Stringlights Films. We share the account, so you'll be chatting to one of us.
We're both on there.
Yeah, we're both on there. We're currently on, we just finished a 7 reels in 7 days challenge after the retreat because we were so motivated from all the content, and we grew our outreach by 452%. We took a picture yesterday. Accounts engaged went up 136%. We grew our followers. Like, we don't have a lot of followers, but that's not what is important. Honestly, everyone that follows us is engaged, and that's what we're here for. So
just real people.
Yeah, real people. We love our people that follow us. We love engaging. We're usually those people after the kids go to bed that are commenting and responding. So yeah, come find us on Stringlights Films. We would love to interact with you guys.
I love watching that just happen. Them taking action and doing what they were taught this year. Like it really is cool. I'm really proud of you all. Keep being rising stars. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us. We love you.
Kaella and Brooke, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. We really appreciate you both taking the time. Again, John and I want to make one more plug for Mastermind. So if you are interested in that at all, if you hearing Kaella and Brooke speak today got you a little bit interested and you want more information, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/mastermind. There you can read all about it. You can fill out the application, and we will get back to you soon. John, it's been great to hang out with you again today, and I'm excited to continue doing How to Film Weddings with you. Listeners, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, we will see ya.
See ya.